A cultist gaped at the rubble, wondering if Jack the Ripper is dead. Count White gloated over the supposed victory, declaring this the fruit of the cult's research, as he noted not a single trace of the clown remained. He spread his arms wide, laughing that there is nobody who can stand up to our might. A playing card suddenly embedded itself in the forehead of one of his shocked associates. The clown's voice echoed in the man's mind, reminding him, "I told you, you should use everything to crush." The terrified cultist could only stammer about "that monster" as the clown reappeared. The clown fanned out a deck of cards as the cultists shrieked in terror, demanding to know, "How did you escape the barrier?" More cards flew with deadly precision, finding their marks in the foreheads of two more men. The remaining cult members screamed and fell as they too were struck down by the card-based assault. Count White watched in horror as his comrades fell. Tears streamed down his face as he whimpered, "I don't want to die yet." In a desperate gambit, he ordered his men to get rid of the barrier, hoping to unleash the monster on his new problem. His pleas for unanswered as his men lay dead around him. His final cry was cut short as a card struck him just as Marquis Despoht appeared. The Marquis coolly examined the bloody Queen of Spades that felled the Count. He smirked with condescending approval, remarking, "Not bad, Jack the Ripper." His bravado instantly evaporated as he threw himself to the ground, begging, "Please forgive me." He trembled uncontrollably, offering any amount of money and endless apologies. The Marquis wailed pathetically, screaming, "Just spare me my life," while the clown grinned. A king of spades silenced his pleas with a wet stab to the forehead. The clown stood impassively over the final body, the last of the knight swords dispatched with utter contempt. With a flick of his wrist, the clown casually dispelled the magical barrier. From their balcony, the girls watched in awe, with Kanade noting, "Wow, he really went through the barrier." Christina observed grimly that the mighty knight swords fell with a miserable whimper, nothing more. Alexia nervously wondered what he would do with the poor thing there, gesturing to the monster. Christina simply told her to look as tendrils of energy began to coalesce. The monstrous form of Millia began to writhe and grow even more grotesque. Millia lashed out with a blindingly fast flurry of sharpened tendrils. The clown stood perfectly still, allowing the swarm of fleshy spikes to approach. Dozens of spikes impaled the clown's body in a brutal, bloody display. The attack intensified, shredding the clown's form into a mess of fabric and gore. The clown was utterly annihilated in a storm of vicious slashes. Millia stood triumphant, dripping with the remains of her victim. Kanade shouted in disbelief, "No way! Why didn't he dodge?" Christina, however, watched intently, a bead of sweat on her brow. She calmly told Alexia, "No, not just yet." Alexia's eyes widened in realization as she agreed. You're right, for sure. A familiar purple-blue energy began to radiate from the monster, the color of powerful magic that we're all too familiar with. Alexia's face lit up with manic excitement as she screamed, "He's here!" The arena floor erupted in a cataclysmic explosion of purple energy and shattered stone. Amidst the swirling debris and playing cards, a new figure emerged, greeted by Alexia's triumphant cry, "Shadow!" The figure introduced himself with maximum dramatic flair. "My name is Shadow, the one who lurks in the shadows and hunts the shadows." The monster, Millia, could only stare in dumbfounded confusion. She dazedly muttered the name of her new opponent. Dao. Shadow instantly closed the distance, unleashing a flurry of strikes that made the monster scream. He moved like a phantom, a blur of black cloth and silver light. He effortlessly danced around Millia, leaving deep gashes with every pass. Crackling with immense power, Shadow faced down the reeling beast. The monster let out a shriek of pure agony as his blade found its mark again. The onlookers were stunned, with Kanade noting how he was slicing that monster up as if he was nothing. Alexia deduced that since he had the power to end it instantly, he's merely toying with it. Christina urged the others to look closer, explaining that every slash has a bit of magic in it. The monstrous flesh began to peel away, revealing a screaming girl, as Christina realized he's trying to return it to its original form. The girl inside the monster whispered the name of her savior in terror and awe. "Shadow!" She let out a final desperate scream of "Shadow!" as the transformation accelerated. Shadow stood poised, his slime sword swirling around him in a graceful arc. He casually caught one of Millia's fleshy tendrils with a single hand. His power flared as he prepared to counter the monstrous woman's attack. His form dissolved into pure shadow as he moved to strike. He unleashed a devastating slash, bisecting the air before him. Millia screamed as he grabbed her arm, twisting it with brutal force. A sickening crack echoed through the arena as her arm was snapped backward. Now armed with a sword of her own, the transformed Millia lunged, screaming his name, "Shadow!" Alexia and Christina shouted his name in a panic, fearing he was in danger. Shadow unleashed a final, overwhelming blast of energy. It consumed his opponent.